This man was called the most unlucky person in his village until everyone realized he was the only one who understood life. The horse ran wildly into the forest, its hooves pounding against the dry earth, disappearing beyond the trees. Thomas stood there in silence, watching. That horse was everything he had. There is a quiet truth most people overlook. Happiness is not shaped by what we have, but by how we see what we have. History has shown us this again and again. Some people live with almost nothing, yet walk through life with peace in their hearts, while others had everything and still felt empty inside. So why does this happen? Why do people feel poor, even when their hands are not empty? Why do they look at life and only see what's missing? This is the story of a man who found the answer, not in wealth, but in perspective. Stay until the end. This story may quietly change the way you see your own life. In a quiet rural valley in northern America, surrounded by long golden fields and distant hills, there lived a farmer named Thomas Hale. He owned very little, a small piece of land, a few chickens, an old wooden barn, and one aging horse. Every morning before sunrise, he stepped into the cold air and began his work, plowing, digging, waiting, hoping that one season, just one, would bring him more than survival. But each harvest seemed smaller than the last, and every night he sat quietly on the porch of his small house, staring at the sky, whispering, "Why does life give so little to those who work so hard?" The villagers often spoke about him. "Poor Thomas. He works harder than anyone, but luck never finds him." And slowly, Thomas began to believe them. Then came the day. His horse ran away, the same horse that carried his tools, that plowed his land, that kept his life moving. It was gone. The villagers gathered around him. "What terrible luck, Thomas. How will you manage now?" Thomas looked at the ground for a moment, then said quietly, "Maybe, maybe not." Days passed. Then something unexpected happened. The horse returned, but it didn't return alone. It came back with 3 wild horses from the mountains. The villagers were amazed. "Thomas, this is incredible. You've become rich overnight." Thomas simply looked at them and said, "Maybe, maybe not." The next morning, his son Daniel, strong and full of life, tried to tame one of the wild horses. But the horse resisted, throwing him violently to the ground. His leg broke badly. The villagers rushed back. "What a tragedy! Yesterday you were lucky, and now this." Thomas sat beside his son, then whispered, "Maybe, maybe not." A few weeks later, war broke out. Soldiers came to the village, taking every healthy young man to fight. Many never returned, but Daniel, with his broken leg, was spared. The villagers returned once more. "Thomas, you were lucky after all." This time, Thomas smiled gently. "Maybe, maybe not." Time passed, seasons changed, but something inside Thomas had changed forever. While others judged every moment, good or bad, he stopped. One afternoon, a traveler passed through the valley. He saw Thomas repairing a wooden fence under soft sunlight. "You seem at peace," the traveler said. "How do you stay calm when life keeps changing?" Thomas offered him water, then said, "Because I learned something simple." He looked toward the hills. "When I lost my horse, I thought it was the worst day of my life. When it returned with 3 more, I thought it was the best." He paused, "But I was wrong. Both times. Now, I don't rush to judge. I just live, and I let life reveal its meaning in time." The traveler nodded slowly. "Then you have understood something most people never do. Suffering does not come from what happens to us, but from how we choose to see it." From that day on, Thomas lived differently, not chasing happiness, but noticing it in the sound of rain, in the wind across the fields, in the laughter of distant children. He stopped waiting for life to be perfect. And slowly, he found peace. Years passed. His hair turned white, his hands grew rough, but his heart became lighter. One evening, as the sky turned gold, a young traveler approached him. "They say you never complain," he said. "How did you learn that?" Thomas smiled softly. "Because I got tired of waiting for life to be perfect." He looked at the horizon. Then one day, I understood something. You don't control the wind. You adjust your sails. You don't stop the rain. You learn to walk through it. And you don't avoid pain. You choose what it means. He turned to the young man and said quietly, "The day I stopped asking, 'Why me?' and started asking, 'What is this teaching me?' everything changed." That night, under a sky full of stars, Thomas felt something deeper than happiness. Peace. He didn't have riches, but he had understanding. And that was enough. Life is not what happens to you. It's how you choose to see it. Every loss carries a lesson. Every ending hides a beginning. So don't rush to call something bad. Maybe it's just life leading you somewhere better.